Welcome to Creatively by Estelle, a podcast for creative and performing artists. My name is Estelle Avberry, and I'm your host. Whether you're just starting or you're a pro, this show will help you feel inspired and motivated every single week along your creative journey, and will give you tactical tools and tips for fulfilling your creative goals and your God-given purpose as a creative person. You have gifts to give, so let's do this. Let's live creatively, and let's get into the episode. Real quick, before we continue with the episode, I want to let you know that if you're a creative person who wants to share your creative gift or whatever you're passionate about with other people and create an online community, a podcast is an amazing way to do it. And you can start a podcast today with Anchor by Spotify. It's such an easy way to make a podcast. Trust me. I'm not a tech person and I did it. So if I can do it, honey, you can too, okay? Anchor has tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. And you can host on Anchor and it will distribute your podcast to platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. So you don't have to worry about, uploading your podcast to all these different sites. And it's everything that you need to make a podcast in one place. And it's 100% free. So there you go. Let's go. Start your podcast, create your online community, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, without further ado, let's continue. Hi, welcome back to the show. I told you guys I'd be throwing in these bonus episodes. So you already know, here we are. I'm so glad to be talking to you today, and I'm so happy that you're here to listen. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I've had some interesting conversations with people recently that have really helped me find clarity and just feel more, full of faith about like where God is taking me and how God wants to use my gifts and how I can really focus on, making the most of my time really and making sure that I'm putting in the time and the things that matter to me the most in this season of my life, and which can be really hard to do, I think, for creative people or for anyone who has multiple gifts or multiple things that you love to do. And especially as performers, performing artists, you're not just an actor, or you're not just trying to become an actor, a performer, right? You're also learning about the voice. You're learning dance, right? Different dance styles. And so there are a lot of different pieces. And maybe you're also, using another gift of yours in social media marketing. Maybe you're writing, maybe you're doing all sorts of other things, right? And so how do you really focus in on what to pay attention to in this season or that season? And one of my friends who's in my church, he's sort of mentoring me. He was helping me really figure out how I could think clearly about my next steps. And he suggested I come up with like my top 3 things that I want to focus on in this season, right, for this particular time. And we were able to really narrow that down. And of course, the podcast was one of the 3. Don't worry, guys. You are in top tier, right? And so, that really helped me to really see, and I wrote it down later. That helped me to see like clearly, plainly in front of me, oh, this is what I'm doing, This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm focusing on right now. And I'm pouring my all into this and letting God lead the way as I do that. And who knows where God's going to take it next, And it's exciting. It's exciting to have that amount of focus on a few specific things in my creative journey at this season. It helps me feel more level-headed, like I know what I need to be doing each day. I know that I want to be doing one thing for each of these 3 things every single day, in my life, professionally and creatively. So that really helped me and gave me some perspective on, okay, this is what I know I definitely want to be focusing on this month and this season until God says next, or until you need to move on, or we need to add in some other things. And honestly, like the categories can be broad, right? So it doesn't have to be like super, super specific, but just knowing what three things I want to focus on in this season has helped me and is helping me to feel more focused and more aligned with what God has called me to do right now. So, yeah, that was just for fun. That was just to share that with you. Hopefully that, helps you feel a little bit more, yeah, hopefully that helps you, and maybe that's something that you would want to do. He suggested labeling, A, B, C, like what are the top tier, like A, like you absolutely cannot not do this in this season, right? And then like let those like three things on the A team kind of thing, where those three things are your most important at this season. And like this is outside of like family, friends, loved ones, of course, church, your faith. This is outside of that. This is mainly focused on like professionally and creatively. So, if that helps you, then I hope that you will take that and run with it, and that will help you to have like sort of a foundation to build on. Like, okay, I know I'm focusing on growing vocally, and I'm focusing on this and this other thing, and so that means I'm gonna be paying attention to that every single day. How am I growing vocally today? How am I doing this other thing today? How am I doing this other thing today? And even if it's not daily, on a weekly basis, and including that in your schedule. So that for me was really helpful. So I hope that helps you, and let's run with it together, and let's keep our eyes focused on what we feel like we're called to do in this season creatively. Yes, make sure that there is at least one of those top tier things. If you're listening to this show, you are a performer, you are an aspiring performer, you want to be doing your creative work and using the gifts God has given you as an artist, and definitely, definitely make sure you include that in your top three things, right? In your top tier items when it comes to your professional growth and, personal development. Because, yeah, we have gifts to use, and the Bible says that we should number our days, right? We want to make the most of our time on this earth. So, making sure that we're using our gifts is so so important. And like I said before, not only is it important because we don't, we want to make the most of our time, right? And of course, it's a gift that God has given us that He wants us to use, and of course, to serve others, to be a blessing to others. But I've mentioned it before that at the end of the day, if you're not using your gift, you, you are the one. I'm the one. If I'm not using my gift, I'm the first person who, other than God, because God is the one who gave the gifts to us, right? So, but we're the first people to miss out, right? So, if you're not using your gift, there is going to be some feeling stuck somewhere, right? Because that gift is not in use, and that's just there, lying dormant, and that's not okay, right? That does not feel good for us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and it shouldn't, because we were made with, like, created by God with these giftings, with these talents, these interests and passions for a reason. And so anything that isn't continually being, poured out, or isn't flowing, right? There's gonna then the, it's not flowing because there's something blocking it, right? That's a blockage. That's something stuck, right? So you might feel that stuck feeling, or you might feel that like something isn't quite there, right? Somewhat unfulfilled in that sense creatively. It's because that gift isn't in use. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. Like, we are the ones who we're definitely missing out. The world is missing out. People are missing out if we're not using our gifts, but we're also missing out because we don't get to have experience the fulfillment and joy that comes with walking in obedience, and using the gifts God has given us and exploring them, growing them, becoming excellent in those things, right? As much as we can, you know. So, yeah, I don't want you to miss out on that. I don't want to miss out on that either. And so I think that's why the whole planning, And focusing on my three things was really, really inspiring and helpful to me because I was like, okay, like I'm definitely pouring into my gifts and I'm doing it in a more focused way that will help me to utilize the time that I have, right, outside of work and school. And I mean, outside of work and church. Well, right now I'm not in school, but outside of work and church and family, right? I'm able to use the time that I have to pour into those gifts and grow those gifts. And, school is another one of those top tier things for me because I'm, allowing God to lead me into my next steps academically. And so, like, that is something that I'm focusing on this season as well. So actually, I'll just share with you my top tier things, right? So the first one is school and like letting God lead me in that. The second one is the podcast. Absolutely pouring into the show, doing these extra episodes because I want to keep spreading this message of empowering creative and performing artists, really empowering you guys to use those gifts God has given you to rediscover the joy of the performing arts and of music and of theater and of singing and the things that you've always loved or that you've always been interested in, rediscovering the joy of that, right? And I know that there's so much joy in using your creative gifts, and I want to make sure that message is being spread forever, everywhere, and always. So I am so in on going all in on the show, right? And so yeah, the podcast is definitely number two. Um, and then the other thing is voice and singing, and that includes voice coaching. That includes, I'm doing like beta testing voice coaching. I've coached vocally for free and for pay before, but I'm now like refocusing on like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing this, and I want to, feel more confident in that. And so, yeah, I'm starting with just whoever I can get, whoever I can just inspire, whoever I can help, whether it's free, whether it's paid, I don't care. Right now, I just want to serve. I mean, I want to serve anyway, but right now to start with, I just want to serve. I just want to get to know people. I just want to see how I can help anyone who wants to learn to sing, and like, what does that look like? So, yeah, I'm doing beginner voice coaching for anyone and for anyone who wants it. Like, again, like the one-on-one singing feedback sessions is part of that. So if you want to learn to sing, you want some beginner coaching, then you can definitely go and sign up for that. It's free, 30-minute virtual session. And that way I'll be able to, practice coaching and work on that. And you'll be able to get some feedback on your singing and we can just have fun singing together. So yeah, the link is in the show notes as always, to sign up there. So yeah, voice is one of those things. And that includes me also going to my own voice coaching and getting coaching myself. And that's something I'm doing. And I'm also just singing more regularly, right? Doing my Song of the Day challenge on TikTok. I'm continuing that and continuing to sing and grow. So yeah, it's exciting. And that's the third thing is focusing on singing. And I'm hoping to do another show this summer, this time a musical. Fingers crossed it's gonna happen. I'm so excited. I so pray that I'm able to. Um but yeah, because I want to be on stage again, and this time it'll be a musical, so like that'll go under the voice section of my top tier things, right? So yeah, this method really, really helped me. Um, and I'm so grateful that God just brought this person to help me really find this clarity and this focus creatively. And I hope that helps you. And yeah, this was really just a chat about creativity and finding that focus and also making sure that you are not letting yourself miss out on the joy of being creative. Do not miss out. Do not miss out. There's no reason to. Okay. So let's start. Let's start today. Go ahead and find those things that you want to focus on, just like I did, right? Find those things that you want to focus on. Sit down with it. Pray about it. Sit down with a friend or a mentor and talk to them about it and talk it out and figure out what is it that you want to focus on this season, creatively, professionally, personal development wise, mindset wise, right? And how are you going to make that time, for it in this season? So I hope that helps. I hope you feel inspired, empowered. If you think of one person who will be blessed by this episode or by this show at all, go ahead and send this to them like right now. Just share it. Just share it, and let's get this message out. Let's get people creating using their gifts so that they're not missing out on the joy that comes with it, okay? All right, thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you later and have a good one. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Creatively by Estelle. I hope you feel encouraged by today's episode as you start this week. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to just share this episode with a friend if you liked it, or with someone who you think this could be encouraging to. It would really help this show. Also, if you really loved this episode, if you wouldn't mind going to Apple Podcasts and leaving a review and rating this show, it would really help us reach more people through this show and grow our Creatively community. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.